Hi there, in this video we're going to look at adding video backgrounds, but also watch, he faded out a little bit, then the icons are along the top. Even better, this video is not long enough, so we're going to extend it at the end so it covers the whole video by freezing the last frame. Alright, let's go and do that now in After Effects. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm starting with an old project. Okay, this is kind of the end we got with this icons. Remember this kind of moving around and zoom in a bit with these icons popping up. Okay, so I'm going to get back there and I'm going to do a file save as, just so I don't wreck it. I'm going to call this one, I'm going to put it in my desktop under AFX files. I'm going to call this one video background, hit save. Okay, and what I want to do is I don't want it to do this camera work where it moves around. Okay, so I'm going to click on the camera, delete it. And because the camera's gone, I don't need these 3D shapes now. Okay, if you're just working without, I'm going to turn the motion blur off as well. Turn it off for the project just to make sure things are running nice and smoothly. Okay, and now hopefully, maybe in my preview, I'm going to turn it down to resolution to 3rd. And hopefully now when I preview, okay, the camera's not moving around. I can just see the whole thing again. I'm going to go even lower. Also, I'm going to go from 2 views to 1 view. Now, if you are just starting this video, you don't have to worry about any of that. You can just start afresh, it's fine. So what I'd like to do is put a video in the background. It doesn't sound that hard, okay? We're just gonna import a video. Now, if you don't have access to Adobe Stock, you can just go into the exercise files and under O1 icon pop, there's this one, Sleeping Man turns slightly towards. Okay, you can bring in him. Okay, what we're going to do though is we're going to explore Adobe Stock and how it's built into After Effects, and we're going to show you some tricks on how to kind of make it work with our animation here. So what I'd like to do is over here, see this little search bar here? It's quite small. Okay, I can type in sleep. Okay, and what it's going to do is it's going to go check out Adobe Stock. Now, Adobe Stock charges for its videos and its images, so go check it out. If you get a subscription with it, you get something like, is it 10 images a month or 20 images? I can't remember. It's not that bad. I pay for it anyway. And I can't remember off the top of my head what it is. But anyway, now by default, it's going to give you both video and images, probably a lot more images. Okay, and if you want to use any of these images, watch this. I just kind of like drag this in. Give it a second. The low res, and they got a watermark. So you can actually just work with these until the client signs them off. Okay, and then back in my libraries, if I delete that, there's a cool option in here that says right click and say license image. And because I am a paid subscriber, it's going to actually license it and it's going to become super high res and the watermark's going to disappear. It's quite a handy little interconnection. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. I don't want this image. I don't want you. I want gone. You gone. So I'm going to use that same thing. I want need that to disappear. Go away. There he is there. So in search, I'm going to type in sleep. Okay, and what I'm going to do is this one where it says results, I'm going to click on just videos. Okay, I'm going to decide which one is going to work for this thing. I feel like this one, you can just kind of like, I'm not holding anything, I'm just moving my mouse back and forward and it kind of previews it for me. So what I want to say is drag it in. Okay, and great. It's not slightly big enough. Okay, you can download 4K versions if you need to. I'm going to make it just slightly bit bigger. Okay, move them down. That's perfect. Cool. Hit spacebar. Okay, I'm going to go back to the beginning. Hit spacebar. And there's this guy. Okay, so you might just leave it here, and that's how to get images in from Adobe Stock. Okay, and just put them in the background. Now, in the background, it needs to be all the way in the background. I'm going to do a couple of things, a couple of little tricks, and they're useful to know. Okay, so back there. Cool. So I've got my text and stuff appearing over the top. It's a little bit hard because of this Adobe Stock watermark, but hey ho, we have to live with that. So what I'd like to do is it to start up, okay, and after some time, I'd like it to actually blur out in the background so that it's not kind of taking away from my icons. You might get it blurry the whole time. I'm going to have mine kind of in nice sharp focus and then blur out as it gets to getting into these icons here. So what I'll do is about here, after the text kind of disappears, I'm going to add an effect. Okay, so over here on close down preview, effects and presets. In here, I'm going to grab the world famous Gaussian blur. Okay, everyone uses it. and I'm going to drag it onto what? It's hard to work it out, so I'm going to drag it into the layers down here. Sleeping man. Cool. And you can keyframe effects just as well as you can keyframe any of the things down here. So this is my effects controls. Okay, and it's very similar. You can see the little stopwatch, okay, as the stuff down here. So what I'd like to do at about here, I'd like to turn on the stopwatch. Okay, and I'm going to move along a little bit. Okay, how far? We'll practice, and I'm going to crank up the blur. How far does this go up? You can just click and drag it and just kind of keep an eye on it. Okay, I want to get mine quite blurry, so it's kind of in the background, sleeping Dan. That looks good. So that when my icons start going, I guess you're not going to be distracted by the video. So let's preview it. Let's see if it works. Preview. Yes, and watch the background. There you go. Kind of make it an abstract-y kind of background thing. That could be the whole time. You wouldn't have to put keyframes in, just make it blurry the whole time. One of the next problems when dealing with videos, it might not be long enough. So like this video here, it gets to a bit, plays along, but then watch what happens. Disappears, and we can see the background again. So a cool little trick you can do with videos is you can right click them, go to time, and there's one in here that says freeze on the last frame. And it kind of extends itself all the way along, and look what happens now. It goes past there, and watch him, he's moving, he stops moving, and just freezes for the rest of the video. Okay, so he's animated up here, doing his little rollover thing, okay, but later on, he just freezes and pauses for the rest of the video. Cool, so we learned some new things. We learned Adobe Stock, okay, and we looked at how to fade it out and add keyframes to effects, and then shoot that video all the way along to the end and hold that last frame. All right, that's going to be it for this one.